Are we live? Are we live? Yes, no, maybe? I think so. Maybe. Oh, alright. I think we should be live, yes? Yo, yo. Hello, Red Herring. And anybody else who might be watching. Let's see. There you go. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Hello, Mart. All right. Okay. So what I was thinking today, chuds are coming. So for today's stream, again, I said yesterday that I wanted to keep yesterday's stream a bit shorter. It ended up being like the normal 2.5 hour length. For today, because I'm trying to think, because again, like the point of these streams is to make, it's to show new stuff or like how to make certain, what do you call them? Like certain mechanics, right? But so far with the 3 different prototypes that we've done, which is platformer, um, platformer, tower defense, city builder, I was able to show you guys how to do most things needed to make like a decent game, right? So now I'm trying to think, because here's the thing, right? Like if I were to make basic AI, because again, I haven't had time to check the new way of doing the nav mesh, right? Hopefully next week I'll have time, although this week I'm going to be busy with work, so I can't promise anything, but I'll try for next weekend to have checked how to do the new version of the nav mesh, right? I didn't manage to use Unity yet. The West has really fallen billions will die. Yeah, don't worry, Mark. Like, take your time. Do it at your own pace, right? But yeah, so what I was saying is, in order to make some more, how can I say, like more, to make smarter AI generally, you'd want to have a nav mesh, right? Now, because they changed the way nav mesh works, um, or rather they've made changes to the nav mesh, but I'm still not sure what the I agree with Clark Kent, but yeah, so because they've made changes to the nav mesh and I haven't used nav mesh in like 5 years or whatever, um, I need to basically relearn how to do it, right? Before I can show you guys how to do the nav mesh stuff. And the thing is, if you want to make smarter AI that like reacts better to what the player is doing and whatever, nav mesh is kind of like the best way to do it. So I can't do that this stream because I don't want to like waste y'all's time with like doing some stupid bullshit, right? Um, in terms of stuff like detecting nearby enemies and stuff, it's the same script as the one we had for the tower defense, or even for in the what's it called, in the city builder, the like spreading happiness, right? Like different buildings spread happiness to each other. It's the exact same script as that. So what I'm thinking is today I can start doing some basic stuff that we see in a lot of MOBAs, right? Some really basic mechanics that we see in a lot of MOBAs. Just kind of as a precursor to once we start doing like proper specific RPG prototypes, what type of how do you say, like how can I say, like to have like these templates for certain mechanics we want, right? So like I don't know, like you walk on a specific object or like a pressure plate and like it teleports you somewhere, or like having a teleporting ability or whatever, right? So with that in mind, let's hold on. Let's think about how to do teleportation, right? So here we have the player projectile, which is technically ability number 1. So ability, well, 0, shoot projectile. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, and also like doing stuff like stats and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So first, let me do, because so far I've coded it to where we have like 3 abilities, right? We have our first ability, which is the projectile. Let's say our second one would be, I don't know, like a teleport, right? Teleport. Public void player teleport. Like that. Okay. And let's say, do we have a space bar? Okay. Get key up, space bar. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is player teleport. Okay. Player projectile. Abilities equals true. Okay, hold on. So let me just see something here. It's where are my cooldowns? Where are my okay, ability cooldowns? Blah blah blah. Okay, use okay. So this is something I forgot to add. Okay, just give me a second. Where was it? Player projectile. So if equals false, so ability 0 hasn't been used, then we're gonna do the player projectile, is what I'm thinking. I just hope I can skip those stupid quizzes. I just want to get into the coding stuff. Yeah, I feel you. Okay, so mouse right click, blah blah blah. Where is okay, spacebar? It's gonna be if used abilities list 1 equals false, right? We're gonna, oh fuck, there we go. Player teleport. Do I have okay, hold on. Let's create a reference to the raycast script. Okay, so private, what's it called? Raycast MOBA, I guess manager MOBA. This raycast manager MOBA script. Okay. This raycast script equals raycast MOBA instance. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm thinking is when the player presses teleport, okay, so ability 1 is going to be teleport to where mouse cursor is pointing at terrain, let's say, right? I think they should be okay, I forgot to say I actually cheated by using grok. I think they should be skippable. I can't remember all that stuff unless I try it for myself. I'm not good at memorizing like that. So what exactly are you talking about, Mart, in terms of quizzes and stuff? Because I feel like I'm missing a tiny part of the story or whatever. Hold on, ability 1. Hold on. What the fuck is this? Hold on, sorry, I'm looking at. Okay. I keep getting notifications on my phone, but it's for bullshit. Okay, ability 1, teleport to where mouse cursor is pointing at. Is to where mouse cursor is, assuming it's pointing at terrain. Okay, there you go. Like that. Basically, before you install Unity, you have to answer some quizzes. Do you? I didn't. unless maybe you selected something like I'm a beginner or whatever. They basically make some tutorials and then give you a quiz to answer for each kit. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't really have to do that. Again, like if you look at my first and I think second game dev streams, I kind of show really quickly like how to install Unity and stuff. Like for at least for me, yeah, for me. But I know which tutorials you're talking about. Hold on, while we're on the topic, um, Unity for beginners. Okay, hold on. So is it one of these things? Let's say this. Like, is it one of these? Like, is this one of the things like you're talking about? Learn the essentials, like this stuff here. Like, is what I'm showing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's there. You go. So you should really watch my game dev streams because I showed basically like you just download Unity. You don't need to do these things, right? Like you can just download Unity and then like basically get to work and like follow the because in my first couple of game dev streams I kind of show more or less like what you need to do, like what you need to click, how to create a project, etc., basically. Okay, so as I was saying, ability one, teleport to where the mouse cursor is, right? So what we're gonna do is transform. Oh, actually, hold on, because it's player manager. So player object, player movement object dot transform dot position is going to be equal to raycast dot player interaction indicator object dot transform dot position. There you go. Okay. Watch the streams, bucko. Honestly, you don't necessarily have to watch them all, but I would say if you had to watch any of my game dev streams, watch like the first two or three, I think, right? Because I forget which ones they are, but basically watch all of them, all of the ones before we start doing the platformer, right? So I think it was like the first two or three streams, because that's the most important part in order for you to know like how to install Unity, like how to set things up, how to set up like Visual Studio and stuff like that, right? Ah, okay, that makes sense. But no, yeah, like that's why I purposefully made it so that the first couple of streams it's for the absolute beginners who have like never used Unity, like who don't even know where to begin. It's like, yeah. Well, don't worry about it. Like we all learn our lessons one way or another. Okay. So now we have this, and then so activate ability one's cooldown. Boom. There you go. So now let's see. Let's see if it's gonna work. Randy will answer all your questions, including which stock options to invest into. Maybe not. My track record with stock investment is trash, if I'm being honest. So that's probably not something I can help you with. Okay, so hold on. So we have this 1.5. Okay, so in theory, every 1.5 seconds, I should be able to teleport to where my mouse cursor is going if I press space. Oh shit. Okay, hold on. hold on. Okay, so there's a bug here. Let me show you. So the bug, the problem is that we teleport at the exact same position as our player interaction indicator, which is at height 0, whereas the player's capsule, the player's body is at height 1, right? So what we're gonna do is vector 3 teleport position v3 equals new vector3. It's gonna be raycast dot placement player interaction indicator dot transform dot position dot x, then player move object dot transform dot position dot y, and then this raycast dot player interaction object dot transform dot position dot z, like that. Let's go back here and let's actually make this much more readable. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now hopefully it should have fixed itself. I need Randy to tell me which NFTs I can use. Oh, bro. I'm sure from the things that I heard from you and him, game development is full surprise. Absolutely. Hold on, I'm just gonna be right back real quick. All right. Okay. So, hold on. Oops. Okay, save project. Okay, so now hopefully it should be, we should be good to go. Oh. God damn it. Okay, it's still not. So hold on. Object mover, yeah, position is Y. Okay, hold on. So here we have player movement object dot transform dot position dot Y. Oh, bro, I'm so fucking stupid. Oh my god. It's always the most simple things, because you turn your brain off because you're like, oh, this is so simple. It's only step 1 and 2. Then you do step 1 and you forget to do step 2, and then you're like, wait, why isn't it working? So mate, is there a galaxy building stream today? If I'm being honest, I kind of want to do a galaxy building stream today, but I don't think I will, because I think I want to finish the player controls, because I'm almost done with them. I just need to actually get them. I need to finish the last bits of code, and actually, yeah. So I want to finish the last few bits of code, and then I need to implement it and test it. And if it works, all I'll have left is the AI to finish, which it's like 95% done. And at that point, I'm pretty much only going to be doing like galaxy streams and other stuff like that, right? The biggest surprise is Randy's found. More time passes, the more I'm convinced Randy is a Mossad agent. He wants to spy on us. Yeah. So, but yeah, and also like I don't know. I don't think today is the proper day for that. Maybe tomorrow. Although tomorrow I'll also be a little busy. But then definitely on Tuesday. Definitely on Tuesday. Okay, so where were we? Okay, yeah. Let's test now. Hopefully it should be good. Hey, okay, there you go. Okay, so you see? So hold on. Let's go down here. Here we have okay, so see, now it's working. Okay, I can shoot different projectiles, I can teleport, right? Jesus Christ. Okay, wait, where am I? Where's the cube? Where's the cube? Where's the cube? Oh, hold on. Oh my god. Oh my god, okay, we're really far away from the cube. Is the cube this way? Ah, there it is. Whee! Okay, so now we've got like a blink or a teleport or something. Okay, we have this. We have our attacks, right? In fact, I might change these. Okay, this I'm gonna change it to ability 1. Or actually, no. Hold on, no. I'm gonna change this melee attack. Okay, yeah. We're gonna change melee attack. Since it's the basic attack, it's not really gonna be an ability. Melee attack is going to be 1 second each. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, never mind. Yeah, okay. So the second thing doesn't matter. Okay, hold on. Let's do 0.5. 0.5. 0.5. At this point, I'm just kind of messing around. Sorry. Just give me a second because I'm curious. Okay, so this right here. Okay, hold on. Player manager. Where's the attack? Ability cooldowns, no. If current attack ID is this. If this melee attack script is attacking boolean equals false. Okay, right. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna need to rework how this works in order, I guess, to make it make sense, basically. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let me explain what exactly I've been looking for in the last couple of minutes and like what's happening, okay? So the way I've coded the melee attack is that each melee attack has its own timer, right? Like its own, let's say, cooldown or whatever. And its cooldown determines whether is attacking bull is false. If it's false, it means now we can attack again, right? Now, because I have multiple melee attacks, right? And the way I've coded it is that each melee attack has its own cooldown. Well, what ends up happening, and the cooldown is only like 0.5 seconds, right? So what ends up happening is, here it says, well, your current attack ID is 0, and so you access attack number 0, and it's is attacking boolean is false, so that means you can attack. So then you attack with attack number 0, and you immediately increment the ID, right? And so what ends up happening is that you immediately, if you click again, you immediately access attack number 1 while attack number 0 is happening. And it's like, well, attack number 1 isn't happening, so you can use attack number 1. So then you use attack number 1 while attack number 0 is also happening because they have separate cooldowns. And then you immediately pass on to attack number 2. And then attack number 2 is like, well, attack number 2 isn't attacking, so you can use attack, like, you see what I mean? So in other words, you can basically triple attack in a second because of the way I've coded it here, right? So what I'm thinking is, attack yeah, exactly. So what I'm thinking here is we're going to, okay, the projectile, we're gonna switch it to 1. This, we're gonna switch it to 2. Let's go down here. We're gonna switch it to 1, ability 1, ability 2. There you go. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do is if ability cooldowns used abilities list 0 equals false, so it hasn't been used. We can do this like that. hold on. So let me just confirm is false. Yes. Okay, and then this we're gonna do equals true. There you go. So now in theory that should have fixed it. Basically, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So now I'm going to spam. So I'm going to spam left click, which is going to, in theory, like activate my melee attacks. And now what should happen is that here element 0 should become true for half a second, basically. This here element cooldowns time elapsed, ability cooldowns time elapsed. Element 0 should be incrementing up to 0.5, at which point element 0 here is going to turn false, right? So in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to spam the melee attack, right? 3, 2, 1, go. See? So now I'm spamming, basically. See? There you go. I'm spamming as much as I can. There you go. I'm gonna spam left click. There you go. There you go. Boom. Like that. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. So, let me see. Hold on. Oh, hello, Silver Sterling. As attack stack with thunder. Yep. So now, actually, since Silver Sterling is here, I'm gonna implement the solution to the weird type of bug you had. Because like I have no idea if you're making your game in Unity or in something else. But if you were to make it in Unity, this is how I would go about creating some sort of script to make sure that your how can I say it? Like that your attacks can only hit. Okay, it's Unity perfect. That your attacks can only hit. But basically that the same attack can't hit an enemy multiple times, right? So because of the way my attack works right now, right? The attack itself, the melee attack we're talking about, the melee attack uses an on-trigger enter with the collider to, deal damage. Now, obviously, the damage part hasn't been implemented, but I mean, we've seen this a million times already with my platformer prototype, with my tower defense prototype, etc., etc. So I might implement it eventually, but for now, it's just, there's no point. Because you guys, in theory, should know how to make it happen. Okay, so here we have melee attack lifetime. Okay, so now here what I'm going to do is very simple. Hold on. Core variables is attacking bool, this blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here we're going to do public list of type game, not game manager, game. Oh my god. Game object. It's going to be called enemies hit list. There you go. Index equals irrelevant. List element equals enemy that has been hit by this attack. Okay, like that. And then here what I'm going to do is simply enemies list dot add, or no, actually first we check to see if this enemy if current enemy has already been hit by this attack. Okay. Yeah, I got pretty much the same thing. Okay, yeah. So check to see if current enemy has already been hit by this attack. And then So how do we check that, right? Simple. We do list. So enemies hit list dot contains, and then in parentheses we're gonna do other dot game object. Okay. Now you're like, what the fuck is this, right? Well, basically, whenever you do on trigger enter or on trigger exit or whatever, an array is different. Sorry that I interrupted myself, but basically, an array is different from a list. An array, when you create the array, you specify how many indexes it's gonna have, right? Like how many list elements it's gonna have. Whereas a list, you can change it dynamically. That's why I only use lists. Like, I don't give a fuck about arrays, right? Like, I purposely only use lists because it's like dynamic. It's really cool, right? But yeah, so as I was saying, right? What does other.gameObject mean, right? So whenever you have like an on trigger enter, on trigger exit, on trigger stay, whatever, right? On collision enter, etc., etc. Other, so here collider, other is just the name of the collider, right? That like you're detecting with the on trigger enter, right? So at this point, when we do other dot compare tag enemy, it's just take the collider component we just had a trigger collision with, right? And then go access that game object's tag. And if that game object's tag is enemy, then do stuff, right? And so here, using that same logic, it's look if the enemies hit list, which is a list of type game object, right? Check if that list dot contains, and in parentheses, it contains the game object that the collider called other is like a part of, basically, right? So here this if statement says basically if the list contains this, right, then like do nothing basically, right? So here what we could do is I could do break, okay, oops, or actually I think it's return, right? I could do return, which means nothing, or I could just leave it blank, frankly. And then here I could do else, like that. And then here I do the code, right? Else, let's say enemies hit list dot add other dot game object, right? And then also this line here, like that, right? Like deal damage, basically. So here, this is the line deal damage, and then add it to the enemy's hit list, right? Or what you could do, which me personally I prefer doing it that way. It's you just add an exclamation mark, right, in front of this whole thing, right? And then you just put the code here, right? That way, again, like I like it when my if statements are explicit. And now what does the exclamation mark mean here? It just means the opposite, right? So this here means if enemies hit dot contains the game object that we just collided with, right? Then blah, 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 right? But we want to know if it's not in the list already, then deal damage to it and then add it to the list, right? So what we do is we add the exclamation mark, which basically means like if the enemy's hit list does not contain this, then you can hit it basically, right? And then all we have to do here is in this part here where it says like is attacking boolean becomes false, right? Right when this becomes false, all we're gonna do is enemies hit list dot clear. Boom, there you go. And so now it resets the list. So now the next time you perform this exact same attack, it's going to like the list is going to be clear, so you're going to be able to deal damage to the same enemies before. Like you see, it's really clean. It's really clean. It's really chill. You know. And that's, I'm using a slightly more complex version of this logic in my own game, right? Because my game has like a bunch of spaceships shooting at each other, and the way I've coded it in my game, the collision, it's a bit more, it's a little bit more complex than the way you guys have done it. Okay, basically, let's say we have the projectile, okay, and let's say this here is like the spaceship, okay, and the projectile, the way it does it is that it calculates the distance it's going to move every frame based on its movement speed, right? So it's gonna say like, so let's say this is frame number 1, this is frame number 2, this is frame number 3, this is frame number 4, right? So from frame 1 to frame 2, it's gonna move this, right? Or it's gonna move here. Then from frame 2 to 3, it's gonna move here. And then from frame 3 to 4, it's gonna move here, like that, right? So what this means is, because of the shape of the projectile, already by frame 2, it's already technically gonna have collided ever so slightly, right, with the object. And then frame 3, it's already gonna be inside of it, right? So because this is really weird, right, and then through between frame 3 and 4, it's still going to be colliding right here, right? So the point is, oh, hold on. So the point is, the way it calculates it is just, it's just by doing like, okay, well, from frame 1 and 2, it's already colliding, so now we add this to the list. So then from frame 2 to frame 3, it's still colliding with it, but it's already on the list, so you don't do damage a second time. And then from frame 3 to 4, it's still colliding with it, but because it's once again on the list, it has already done damage to it once, so we're good. So you see what I mean? That's kind of the way I've designed it, right? I hope this was helpful. Let's delete this. Okay. So this is the melee damage thing, right? And now let's say here I'm just gonna do debug.log and a new enemy hit. Okay, like that. And now, oh, fuck's sake. There you go. Okay, like that. Okay, I'm back with them. I just did the I showed Silver Sterling how I would do the melee attack thing, where like to make sure that it doesn't hit the same enemy multiple times, right? So let me just give you an example. So hold on. So here for all 3 of my melee attacks, I'm just gonna make them appear for 5 seconds, right? Just let's pretend that our melee attack is like active for a fucking long time, right? Like 5 seconds. And then I'm just gonna create a bunch of placeholder enemies with this cube over here, or actually not even the cube. I'm going to do 3D object, capsule, test dummy. Okay. All right. So let's do 0, 0. Actually 1, like that. Right. Test dummy. It's gonna be trigger, rigid body, does not use gravity. Yeah, we're gonna make it so that it doesn't rotate or anything. Now let's, for the sake of clarity, materials, let's make the player blue, and the test dummy is red. Okay, and then script. We we have an enemy MOBA, so we can give it the enemy script. Oh yeah, it does need the enemy script actually. And here we're gonna do it enemy. That's enemy MOBA. Okay. Let's compile. Compile. Add tag, new tag, enemy MOBA. Save. Alright, hold on. Enemy MOBA test dummy. We're gonna change it from this to enemy MOBA. And I think this should be good. Okay, so now I'm just going to duplicate, right? And I'm gonna move it here, duplicate. I'm gonna move it like that, duplicate. I'm gonna move it here or whatever, right? Okay. So let's have it like that, right? So now we're gonna do save. Now here for the console. And now let's see, right? Okay, we're waiting for this to disappear. So I only have, okay. So now I'm gonna do one attack, okay? And let's see how, it should at most tell me that I've hit 4 enemies, right? So let's say 3, 2, 1. So see, it's only giving me 4 enemies. You see? Now let's do another attack. See, I'm passing through all of them, and it's not. Now let's do the last attack, right? See, it's only hit 4 enemies. There you go. So it works. You know what I mean? Only 4 enemies. Again, only 4 enemies. Only 4 enemies. See? So that's the thing. It's like oftentimes these types of mechanics that people would intuitively think like, oh, this must be super complicated to make and whatever. Oftentimes, like maybe 80 to 90% of the time, those types of mechanics are actually super easy to implement. And they're really tough shit to do. The stuff that like has a million bugs and takes you like a week to implement is like the stuff that seems really basic, right? Like right now, I'm doing the player controls. They're really simple, right? You select units with left click and you give them an order to move with right click. That's it. In my game, that's how players are going to control their units, right? And despite that, I have to, like, it took me hours to think of all the different edge cases of like, okay, but wait, if I give them an order to move to an area that is inaccessible, then it should not let me do an order. Wait, what if I have selected the maximum number of units I can select? Wait, what if, like, you know, like a bunch of shit like that, basically, right? And so before you know it, it's like it's become like super fucking complicated because from one simple mechanic, you have to think of like the 20 different edge cases, right? That would like completely break the system. You know what I mean? So that's game dev. Okay, so now we have a projectile thing, a teleport thing, and a melee attack. What I'm thinking is maybe I could have so let's add like a stealth mechanic to the game, right? Okay, let's do this. MOBA script. So you know how like in MOBAs, when you enter into the shrubs or like the bushes or whatever, you kind of like enemies lose vision of you or whatever. Now I don't want to complicate it any further, but what if I had a spinning attack with a continued animation and a hitbox that would hit multiple enemies, that would hit multiple times, like a Tatsumaki from Street Fighter. Okay, well actually, you know what? Let's implement this. Because this is actually really cool. Okay, so a spin attack. So first of all, the spin attack basically already works the way I've coded my melee attack, because you know, like it used to only appear like once every, what's it called, like once every 0.5 seconds, right? Here, so first attack is gonna be 0.5, second attack is gonna be 0.5, and let's leave the third attack to 5 seconds. So let's say the third attack is the spin attack, basically. So in that sense, it's gonna work the same way. But what you're asking is basically, I want to hit multiple enemies, but because the scripts happen like basically each script happens like once every frame, I don't want to hit every enemy 60 times a second, basically, right? So what you would do is you would kind of create a cooldown, right? Where, okay, yeah, here's how you would do it. Here you would create, well, this is how I would do it, right? I guarantee you there are a shit ton of different ways of doing it, right? But basically list float enemy hit invulnerability, so invuln frames list. Okay, index equals same enemy as this, and then list element equals how many seconds, so how much time left before removing from list above, right? From enemies hit list, okay? So there you go, like that. Okay. And hold on. And so now what you would do is basically, again, if the enemy you just hit is not on the list, add it to the list, but also enemy, so invuln frames list, add, let's say we want the hit delay to be like half a second, basically, right? So 0.5 f, right? Like that. And then here, what we're gonna do is okay, so while is attacking is true, okay, we're also going to do go through every single enemy hit and update their invulnerability frames. Their invulnerability frames for this attack specifically. Okay, there you go. And so now what you're gonna do is simply for, or actually no, yeah. Here it's gonna be 0. Okay, so you add 0 float, 0.0 float, and then here you do for integer loop index 0 equals 0. Loop index 0 is going to be enemy hit invulnerability blah blah blah, loop index plus plus, like that, right? And again, like here we can use either this list or this one, right? It doesn't matter because they have the same number of indexes, right? And like each index is related to each different each index is related to each different enemy, basically. Okay, and now literally all you do is enemy list loop index plus equals time dot delta time. Okay, but what you do actually is if enemy hit invulnerability frames loop 0 is lower than, let's say, 0.5, right? Or actually, here what we're going to do is public, or hold on, public float, it's this attacks damage interval f, okay, is going to be equal to this, right? And now what we're going to do is just if the current invulnerability frames are lower than the attack damage interval, we're going to do plus equals time dot delta time. Otherwise, else if enemy, yep, loop index 0 is greater or equal than this, like that, right? Okay, like that. Then literally all you do is this. Loop index 0 is going to be oh fuck, hold on. Fuck, hold on, there's a problem here. But basically here what you would do is enemies list blah 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 dot remove enemies hit list dot loop index. There you go, right? That's what you would do, right? Now the problem with this, the way I've coded it here right now, is that because we have multiple lists and we're using a what's it called, and we're using a fuck, yeah, okay, so because we're using a hold on. No, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it differently. So let me explain. So because we're using a for loop based on the list count, but this list count is dynamically being updated, then this isn't gonna work, because the moment I start changing the list, right? The moment I change this list, then the indexes aren't synchronized anymore. You know what I mean? And so this is basically gonna work for one enemy, and then for the rest it's gonna bug out and it's gonna start making it's gonna start allowing you to attack again enemies like in the wrong, like using the wrong timer, right? Okay, so let me explain how instead I'm gonna do it, right? In order to make this work, fuck, I figured out how to do it, and I immediately like forgot. My brain just like melted. Okay, hold on. So the problem here is we have, yeah, we're using discount, blah blah blah. Hold on. Right. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this like that. Okay. We're gonna leave this like that. And then because realistically the difference in time, okay, this is gonna be really ghetto. Okay, this is gonna be like really ghetto the way I'm gonna do it, but it is going to work assuming you don't have a shit ton of enemies. Okay, so literally here all you can do is if enemies hit enemy list 0 is greater or equal to interval, right? Then you simply do enemy hits list dot remove enemies hit list 0, and then you do the same here, enemies list dot remove. There you go. Okay, So the thing is, because this is going to be happening every frame, right? While we're attacking. Hold on, and let's also do this here, like that. Okay. So because this is going to be happening every single frame while we're attacking, it's basically going to remove 60 enemies per second. Right? 6 million enemies on screen for a reason. Yeah. Alright, hold on. Let's save. Okay. So now, let's see, right? Hold on, console. Okay, let's play here. Okay. So this attack is going to be attacking for 5 seconds, right? It's going to be attacking for 5 seconds. And because the attack interval is 0.5, let's say, that means that you can deal damage to every enemy twice per second. Okay, that's what that means, right? So hold on. Oh, fuck's sake. Must be non-negative and less than 0. Hold on. Come on. It's line 0 if... Okay, yeah. If... Hold on. If enemy dot count is greater than 0... Oops. There you go. There you go. So this, you put this if statement here just in case you didn't hit any of any enemies during your frame, so that it doesn't give you like errors, right? That's kind of the idea. Okay, so let's go back to here. How many times is this? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're waiting for it to reset. Okay, so enemies hit 4, enemies hit 4, and now let's see. Okay, now it's going to be up for 5 seconds. Okay, it can hit 4 enemies, so each enemy can hit them once every half a second, which means every second we should be hitting 8 enemies times 5. It's gonna be 40, right? So in theory, we should have somewhere between 30 and 40 enemies hit, right? So hold on, let's just clear this, right? Ah, fuck's sake. Let's clear. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. See? Okay, so we have about at least 20 enemies hit, right? But like, you see what I mean? So hold on, so, okay, like that. And now, 3, 2, 1, okay, hold on. 1, 2, okay, and now, rather, okay. So actually, I'm not gonna move. Okay, I'm not gonna move, and I'm just going to activate my third attack. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it's pretty much working. I don't know if it's clear or not, but the idea is that, like, yeah, it pretty much works, right? This is a little ghetto just because, as I said, it's like, it's gonna be checking them like frame by frame, and it's only gonna be removing 1 per frame. But this is really the safest way if you don't want to like have to create like a super convoluted script that's going to check through all of the enemies that are currently like invulnerable or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Because basically, like, what you could do to remove multiple enemies at the same time is to then have a third list that's of type Boolean. And then once you've passed this, you're gonna go through every, but like it starts to become like really convoluted basically, you know? So yeah, so that's how I would do it. I hope this was helpful to you, Silver Sterling. If you can get progress of animation in code, you can simply wipe the list at this point in the animation. Yeah. For once we get to animations, I'm going to show you guys a bunch of stuff. Like I haven't touched animations in like 5 years either, right? So I'm super rusty when it comes to nav mesh animations and a few other things. So that's why like we'll see how these things work, right? Once we get there. But yeah, so this is it right now, right? And I mean, fuck man, like at this point I'm trying to think of like different mechanics that I could show you guys. Oh my god. But basically, like, do you guys have any other requests for animations? I know Red Herring wanted us to do stats. Do you want to do stats right now, or do you want us to do something else? Right? Let me know, cause and like today's gonna be a bit of a shorter stream, so yeah, I'm pretty much like taking you guys' requests and stuff. Yeah. So do you have any certain mechanics that you would want me to make or whatever? If it's okay, then right now, what do you mean, Mart? I'm not entirely sure. Most of the animation I've worked with is outside of coding, with the exception of triggering them through the anim control and whatnot. Yeah. That's typically the way you do it. There we go. Sorry, I misunderstood. I don't have any questions. Okay, gotcha. But like other than questions, like do you guys have any requests for certain mechanics, kind of like what Silver Sterling did, right? Because I think that would be most helpful, because at this point I've almost shown everything, and the other stuff that I'd like to show you guys, I'm personally not prepared, so I don't want to like show you bad stuff basically. Yeah, I've got what I needed pretty much. You were talking about stealth, Randy. Yeah, okay. So stealth, honestly, it's gonna be really easy. That's why I kind of like pivoted from it, because I was like, it's really is easy. You just make like an object, right? You make it as like hold on, like let's say the cube here, right? You make it, let's say 5, 2, 1.5, right? Let's say that this here is the shrub. Let's do trigger, rigid body, use gravity, boom, right? And the idea is when you enter it, it's going to trigger a boolean in the player that says the player is stealthed or is in shrub or whatever, right? And at that point, all enemies who are going to be using a similar detection script to the one we had for like the tower defense and stuff, when they check for the player, if the player has that boolean checked, then they're just not gonna register the player's presence. You know what I mean? Like, it's really simple. I could show you how to do it, but at this point it's like it's just using stuff we've already learned. You know what I mean? So now I'm kind of trying to think of like how I could use stuff like, I don't know, right? Well, exactly. Better not to repeat ourselves. Exactly. And the problem is, well, actually, hold on. Maybe I could do some UI stuff, right? Maybe I could do some UI stuff, which is going to be here, canvas. Let's say UI, where is it? Button, it's going to be ability 0 button, and then hold on, let's go back here, let's make it 100 by 100. Okay, let's move it like that here at the bottom. Okay, and let's do, oops, 250, oh no, minus 250, oops, no, 100. Okay, so minus 500, let's say. Right, so this is ability 0. These ones we're gonna delete. This is ability 0. Ability 1 is going to be minus 300. And ability 2 is going to be minus 100. Okay, let's say like that, right? Oh, so ability button. Yeah, we're gonna make it like that. Like that. And then in the player manager, or hold on, not this. Here in the player manager, what we're gonna do is here like that. We're gonna do public list of type game object. We're gonna be abilities buttons list equals new. There you go. Index equals ability ID, list element equals ability button. Okay, and now very simply, where are our cooldowns? Horizontal movement cooldowns, okay, blah, blah, blah. So when this becomes false, literally all we do is buttons list loop index dot set active true. Okay, and here we're just gonna do false. Okay, like that, like that, and then hold on. Okay, so look here. Okay, now the way I've done it is that it's going to make the buttons disappear when we're key blast button. Okay, hold on. There you go, like that. Now here we're gonna go in game manager, and then this. It's gonna be number 1. Number 2, number 3. Okay, now let's play this. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's wait for these attacks to disappear. Okay, so now literally I'm gonna auto attack, auto attack, auto attack, right? Then I'm gonna do this, do that, like that. Then I'm gonna teleport. Then I'm gonna teleport, right? Very simple. Now the thing is, obviously in a real like MOBA or whatever, the buttons don't actually disappear. They like go on cooldown. Now I'm not gonna do like a cooldown animation, but basically what I'm gonna do is something that's a little more intuitive, right? So what I'm going to do is, hold on. Here we're gonna do header UI variables. Oops. UI variables. So here we're gonna move this onto here, like that. And then here I'm gonna do private button. Okay. Fuck. What's the difference? Unity engine.ui elements. This is a clickable button. Shit. Okay, hold on. Okay. Hold on. So when I'm trying to access a text mesh pro button component in Unity, do I use what was it called? UI Unity engine.ui or Unity engine.ui elements? Do I use Unity engine.ui or Unity engine.ui elements? Texas, you should use Unity engine.ui, not okay. Is the name for UGUI? Okay. Unity's legacy but still standard immediate mode UI system. Text Mesh Pro UGUI is the component used with buttons like button and UI components such as image slider, etc. Also live in okay, gotcha. Do not use now called UI Toolkit is Unity's new retained mode UI system primarily used for editor tools. And some runtime UI, but not. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna just be right back. 5 seconds. Okay. So private button. It's going to be current ability button. Okay. So now literally what I'm gonna do here, okay, is current ability button equals buttons list 0 dot get component button. Wait, hold on. Yeah, button like that. And then what we're gonna do is current ability button dot interactable equals false. Okay. Now let's rename. Oh fuck. Let's rename this to. There you go. Okay, so now let's just do this like that. Hold on. Here in cooldowns, we're simply going to do buttons list interactable true loop index. There you go. And then here we're simply gonna do that. Like that. Okay. And now hopefully it should look a bit better. So this is how you can do, you can interact directly with buttons, right? Hold on, let's press this. Okay, so let's say, so see now it's like, it's disabled. I can't click it, right? Like that. Can't click it. Now it's interactable again. Now it's not. It's not interactable. Now it is. Right? This one isn't. Right? There you go. So you see what I mean? So there you go. That's how you can do like some really cool UI stuff. Yeah, you can just never heard of that kind of wording before. It's pretty much imperative to do so. It says that under the animator component, you can get progress from animator. Okay. Interesting. More specific engines have an option to fast forward to a specific frame of an animation, or otherwise use that frame as a trigger outcome. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, that's the UIs, like how you can kind of do some very basic prototype-ish stuff. Generally speaking, once you want to do more fancy stuff with the UI, you could what do you call it? You could uh, use animations, right? But again, I haven't really shown animations yet. But if you look it up, you can basically use animations also to do stuff with the UI. Very cool. Although I'm not making a MOBA, it's always nice to learn new stuff. Yeah, yeah. Well, again, like this MOBA prototype thing, it's really here just as a template that we're then gonna use to make all sorts of different RPGs, right? Um, so that's kind of the idea here. Now what else? What else? Can I do like the stats thing? Okay, let's think about the stats, right? Mm. I think I spoke about this briefly yesterday, but basically the way stats were done, or were, the way stats are done in most games, right? Even like the God of War 2018 or whatever has that exact same problem. It's is that it how can I say it? The stats basically the stats themselves are just a bunch of random numbers, right? Like 73 constitution, 59 agility, whatever the fuck, right? Um, yeah, exactly, Mart. Like, who knows, right? And the thing is, you can always implement these types of mechanics in your own, um, like you can kind of modify them and implement them in your own game that you're making, right? All right, my request is make an ability that swaps positions with the enemy. No teleportation, a physical transfer. Get to work. Well, I mean, that would more or less be feasible using our current teleportation. You would just use the placement indicator, make it collide with a certain bunch of units, or have or instead of using collisions, you could just use the type of search tool where it's like it detects which enemies are within a certain distance of the placement indicator or the player interaction indicator, and at that point it just swaps positions with all of them basically. um, yeah, I was meaning to ask you if I can implement them, but the question sounded too dumb. Sorry, friend. No, no, you can. Like, there are no dumb questions. The idea is, and this is also why I link my projects in my Discord server, right? It's that, like, literally, like, use my code, right? Like, use it as a stepping stone to make your own stuff, right? Like, my code is far from perfect. It's far from the only way of doing things, but it's just like use it as a sort of template, right? I was thinking of using your plan. Yeah, sure, sure. Go ahead. Like, I don't mind at all. Um, so yeah, so in terms of stats, what I was saying is I don't like stats that are like just random numbers, right? For hack and slashes, but if you do, I'm thinking to fuse them. Okay, all right, I gotta go. Might be back, but I'm not sure. I've definitely learned what I need thus far. Else, yeah, no worries, Silver Sterling. Take care. And honestly, the stream is probably gonna be done by the time you're back, because today's it's really gonna be a short stream. I mean, fuse platforming, hack and slash. Oh, okay, gotcha. Hold on. So, actually, hold on. Hack and slash games. Okay, let me just see. Okay, hack and slash games are like these. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I could eventually make something like a hack and slash, um, but like with RPG elements, basically. Yeah, yeah. I could try to do something like that. Okay. If not, no worries, man. I can. Oh, no. Like, I'll do it. Like, fuck it. Like, because at this point I've shown almost everything I wanted to show using like Unity and stuff. So at this point I think it might be smarter, instead of me coming up with ideas, it might be better if my streams start focusing on like certain things you guys want to do in your games, right? Make it a throwing weapon that tethers to the enemy. The tether pulls the enemy towards the player while the player runs past them. Let's go. But yeah, hold on. So we were talking about stats, right? Okay, so the stats, I want stats to be kind of meaningful stuff, right? So the idea, I'm probably not going to be able to fully implement stats today just because, like, in order to make stuff interesting with stats, it does require more game mechanics to already be in the game. But in general, right? In general, the way I would do it is, let's say, here we can have a public list of type integer, and we're gonna call it player stats list. Okay. Index equals stat, and then list element equals stat value. Okay. Now here we're gonna say, let's say 0 is, go full Japanese and make novel length page of meaningless stats. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I know that in Silver Sterling's comment, he was thinking of 3 stats, but in this instance, I'm thinking, I don't know how many stats we're gonna say, but let's say, because I want stats to be meaningful but also intuitive, right, in the game. So let's say we're gonna say like constitution, let's say, right, or like strength, right? So strength, 1 would be, let's say, agility. So strength is for certain actions, agility is for certain other actions. So let's say endurance / constitution or whatever, right? 3 is going to be, let's say, psyche or whatever. Or maybe that would be part, well, okay, so endurance would be physical resistance. Okay, so physical resistance. Psyche would be magical, magic resistance. So movement, actions, okay, and let's say a 5th one, right? Let's say a 5th one would be what would be a good 5th one? So you have strength, we have agility, we have physical resistance, psychic resistance, or like magic resistance, whatever the fuck. Shit, help me out, guys. I can't think of a 5th one, of a 5th stat. Oh, maybe perception. Perception, okay. So seeing things. So spotting hidden stuff, let's say, right? Like this, right? So basically, if your perception is high enough, you can spot enemies, right? So going back to like our stealth mechanic, what we can do is, depending on your stealth level, right? So hold on. So actually here I could do, let's say 5 would be stealth, right? 6 would be whatever, right? So the idea, so what I'm thinking is like, yes, we have a shit ton of stats here, right? But the idea is that it would work in terms of like levels of comparison, right? So like, hold on. So paint, let me just see this, right? So here it would be like, we have, let's say that there's a part in the terrain. So there's a destructible terrain, requires 6+ strength to destroy, right? we have some sort of mind control ability is going to be oh wait, this is interesting actually. Hold on. So actually, okay. Less is more, right? Less is always more. So instead of endurance and this, okay, hold on. What we can do is this like that. So magic strength. So physical strength. Strength. 3 could be perception. 4 could be stealth, whatever, right? Okay, so the idea is, okay, mind control ability, caster's psi versus target's psi, right? Whoever has the strongest psyche wins that tug of war, right? So like you cast a mind control ability, if the target you cast it on has the same level of psyche as you, it has like a lower cooldown. If they have a lower level of psyche than you, then like the effect lasts longer. If they have the same level of psyche as you, the cooldown is like, let's say, normal or whatever, or it's even reduced. And then if they have a higher level of psyche than you, then they're like immune to that effect, right? Like stuff like that, right? Let's say climbing terrain. So climbing terrain requires X strength and Y agility, right? Like this is kind of how I'm thinking of designing like RPG stats. You know what I mean? This is kind of what I'm thinking of doing, right? Because I find that this type of stuff is far more intuitive, right? And like you should keep the values like lower, like no more than 10, right? If you have like 10 strength, you're kind of like maxed out, right? Or stuff like that, right? The best stats I've seen in the MOBA used 1 damage providing stat, then multiple defense stats, the benefit being that more damage related upgrades are viable. Yeah, that can work as well, yeah. And something else would be to also add like elemental modifiers, right? So like, I don't know, like frost armor gives you extra protection from fire damage and vice versa, right? Having molten armor gives you extra protection from frost damage or whatever, right? That's kind of how I'm thinking of doing it, just because I feel like that's more intuitive and it's more fun, but the problem is that it is a little more complicated to implement, right? Like you need to actually like take your time in crafting these things, right? Unoriginal next. Yeah. So anyways, so that's how I would go about doing stats. Now I'm probably going to start implementing something like this, right? In the next couple of streams, once I get like real proper gameplay working. I mean like once we add the AI stuff using the nav mesh and other stuff like that, right? Is what I'm thinking. But yeah, that's kind of how I would go about doing it. Fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else. Do you guys have any other requests or something? Because at this point, I'm probably gonna end the stream soon. Today's stream has been very lackluster compared to usual, but it's just because I haven't had time to like prepare for the really cool stuff with the nav mesh and stuff. You know what I mean? But like, let me know. What could you possibly have to do today? Like work on my game. Yeah. So So what I'm thinking is probably because again, like every idea for a mechanic that comes to my mind, I'm like, well, we've already done a version of this, right? Yeah, no, unfortunately, there's not gonna be a Galaxy stream today, Mart. Maybe tomorrow. Uh, although I'm gonna be very busy tomorrow, so because I was expecting to hear some recreational activity. um, yeah, maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Tuesday. Definitely on Tuesday. Um, Again, I don't know at what time on Tuesday. I might start it in the morning. I might start it at noon, like I usually do. I might start sometime in the afternoon. No, actually, I'm not gonna be able to start sometime in the afternoon. But that I'm gonna try to start it to start the Galaxy stream on Tuesday in the morning. At some point, like maybe around 10 a.m., something like that. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, today's stream was a bit lackluster. I mean, I'm glad I was able to do to refine the melee attack mechanic, right? Um, and oh, that sounds good. Hope I can make it there in time. Sounds like a busy week for me too. Yeah, yeah. It's because last week I only went to work 1 day, so this week instead of going 2 days, I'm gonna have to go 3 days. So yeah, so that's why like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is gonna be a bit rough for me. Watch this, guys. I'll get him with this request. Provide an example of usage of try/catch debugging. Nope, not happening. Okay, so if you guys don't have any more requests, any more Jesus, any more okay, yeah. So if you guys don't have any more um like requests or whatever, I'm probably gonna end today's stream right now. And yeah, next week I'm gonna try to have the nav mesh working, like to have like inform myself on how the nav mesh is working, like the new nav mesh is working for next week. And yeah, I think that's the plan. Next week nav mesh, and once we have the nav mesh working, we can start working on enemy AI to make it a bit more interesting, right? And then possibly start creating different characters with different abilities, stuff like that, right? Randy debug stream when? Never. Not happening. Fuck you. I'm gonna do a debug stream on you guys' projects, but not on my projects. Fuck you. Okay, so yeah, so that's the plan for next week. Try to get the nav mesh working. Once we have the nav mesh working, get some basic AI working, and then yeah, and then I'm thinking of doing animations then. And by the point I'm done with animations, we're kind of gonna have seen everything there is to see with regards to like the core basic game dev in Unity. You know what I mean? But yeah. Oh yeah, AI is gonna be awful. I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, Randy Rage emote one. Well, Rage emote is gonna be when I get monetized and I can get memberships. But yeah, there will be debugging next time, whether he likes it or not. Yeah. Okay. So that's the plan for next week. Get the nav mesh, get the AI as much as possible, and then we'll see where we get from there, right? No, because okay, to get monetized, I need 500 watched hours of content, right? Um, and or no, not 500 hours. Jeez, what am I saying? I need at least 500 subscribers. Then I need at least 3,000 hours of watched content within the last 365 days. And is that it? Actually, let me see. Hold on. While we're on topic, let me just see. Why am I trying to guess what it was? It's I need at least 500 subscribers. I need at least 3 uploaded videos in the last 90 days, which obviously I have more than that because live streams count. And I need at least 3,000 valid public watch hours in the last 365 days, or at least 3 million views, shorts views, I mean, in the last 90 days, right? So if you guys want to get me monetized, have my streams, have my live streams playing on loop, basically. You need 274 acres. Jesus. Ryan likes to keep the bugs around. Crabs, bed bugs, mosquitoes. Ah, Jesus. Randy's the type of guy not install Windows screens because it's a form of debug. Exactly. All right. Well, at this point, I think even chat is devolving into chaos. So I think I'm gonna let you guys go. And hold on. For anybody watching this VOD, this miserable VOD, for the scuffed stream, I'm going to just post the link to the Discord server for anybody interested. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, Tuesday morning at around 10 a.m. All right. Until then, you know, it's just now. Yeah. All right. Until then, take care, boys. See you next time.